Hi bass fans, here I am with another edition of the Bavarian Basstalk. And we do this from the convention of the International Society of Bassists here in Bloomington. And my guest for that talk is a very important person and a very influential bassist for the future. It is Hans Sturm.
Hello, Klaus.
You will be the next president of the ISB, of the International Society of Bassists. So that's kind of a big job.
It is a big job, yes.
And it can have a big influence in the future of the bass development on this side of the planet, also to the other one. So I want to ask you, since you're teaching, what is your opinion on how the double bass developed? In playing wise, also pedagogical, how you see it nowadays? And I know it's a long question. What is your vision for the future?
You ask a big question.
Yeah, we can separate it.
I can say I was president before some years ago. And of course things grow and they change over time. I was asked by the board, they elected me to come back to help with the ISB, so I'm happy to do that. The crowning achievement of the ISB, I think, is our conventions, where we look to showcase the great variety of things that are happening. And so, given that, I would say that what's happening in the bass community since, I guess since the late 80s, even late 70s into the 80s, there has been this explosion of bass activity. We see more composers writing for the bass. We see different techniques. We see all kinds of styles coming to the table, and everything is influencing everything else. So it's really an incredible time to be a bass player.
Absolutely. So you say since the 1970s or 80s?
1970s or 80s, I think so. I'm thinking about my lifespan. I was born in 1960, and I think that the range of these kinds of bass events where we have bass workshops like your Bavarian Bass Days or the Kansas City Bass Workshop, Austin Bass Workshop, Los Angeles Bass Workshop, Twin Cities Bass Camp, all of these kinds of things, bass-centric events, they didn't take place. And I think part of that we can pinpoint and we can say what Rodney Slatford did in England with the Minibass program in England, and what George Vance did here in the States, and what you're doing right now with Bavarian Bass Days, getting young kids making real basses that are appropriate for small kids. And now those kids are now principal of the Metropolitan Opera, members of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, great bass players. So because we are able to start kids at a much younger level, they grow into much greater artists. Because when I was learning, it's like when you go to the fair, you have to be this tall to ride this ride, in order to play the bass. You had to be 14, maybe 15 because you had to be tall enough to physically play the bass. That's no longer the case.
So the MIDI bass movement, you think, had a big
influence? Had a big influence on this, and with that, the pedagogy that came with that. When Rabath came, his pedagogy and his system of doing things. But there are other people who like you think about Pruner and what he was doing, and there have always been people. If we're looking at the history-based pedagogy, the first explosion was the development of the modern conservatory movement. And so Simondl, Nani, Billet, these in the late 19th, early 20th centuries, we see a propagation. They wrote the books go out, people learn how to play with the books. But then now the technology changes. So now we have books, we have videos, we have YouTube, we have DVDs, we have many, many different ways of learning.
So many access to knowledge.
Exactly, and so where before, you would really have to seek it out. Now it's everywhere.
My starting time, when there was not even a video available of a classical double bass player. I mean, you could find everything from electric bass players, but nothing about double bass players. So now we are in a very exciting time also, because this knowledge is easily accessible.
And the internet helps all of that.
Yeah.
The internet did not exist.
Not at all.
Until really in the mid '90s, things started to take off.
And
Late '90s.
when we talk about pedagogy, you are teaching as a professor,
Yes.
and the ways of transporting knowledge. This is, I mean, the last years, the more I was thinking about this, this is a key word in teaching and also in pedagogy, the way to transport knowledge. Did you feel like there was also a change? I mean, I feel a little bit like in some countries or also in some schools, we are standing kind of far behind of what it could be on the double bass. How is your experience about that?
I think that's accurate. What is the available of technology, but also how is it used? Because technology is a tool, and either the tool is used well or it's not used well. So you could have access to great technology, and still it is not going to connect with the student. For my part, what I like to see is this. I call it the buffet. I like to see many different ways that you can access the technology is very helpful. I think this is very powerful for the students. But also that intimate connection with the teacher, the one-on-one. I don't think anything will completely replace it.
This is not replacing.
But I give you an example. So one of the projects that I took on were these DVD projects with Francois Rabat, where we did biomechanics animations and user-selectable camera angles. The reason I did that was because when I was studying his method, I realized that the book was not telling me. You can't hear the sound from a book. You don't experience physically what's happening with the book. But by having a video where you can see him from different angles and so on, you can begin to experience more. You hear the sound, you see the motion. It's a more holistic way. And so the technology can help. It still will never take the place of going to study with you, with me, with Francois, with whoever the teacher is, and being in the same room. That personal experience is how we also transmit not only the knowledge, but how we transmit the music and the power of the music. Yeah.
But it helps.
It helps. Oh, it all helps. Yeah.
And as the president now, what is your vision for the next convention, for the future of the bass in general? Do you have something spotted out already, or do you say we will see what's coming, or what is your idea about that?
I think we will see what's coming, but what I always want to do, what I did back when I shared the convention with John Shimmick, who is our current president now. I'm president-elect. We shared the convention together in Oklahoma City. What we tried to do then, we will try to do again, which is to showcase a diverse range of players who are doing all kinds of things. Of course, jazz, classical, new music, old music, as many different styles. In addition to the performing, also the pedagogy side and the history. People giving lectures, talking about their discoveries. I mean, the convention. It's a very exciting place to be. Now we're sitting together talking on Friday of the convention. We've been hitting this since Monday. I mean, we're all pretty tired right now.
But we have a very positive input.
Oh, it's all incredibly inspiring and exhausting, and I've got so much that I want to go back and try when I get home, and to play it. All these ideas going on. It's just fantastic. Yeah.
So we are facing, I think, a very bright future in the double bass.
Oh yeah. There's no going back.
And also I think we can still explore a lot of things on the bass, like music-wise, also social-wise. Like what I do with this bass talk is like I want to also show where all the backgrounds of the players are coming from. Like before I did one with Fausto Borem, how it works in Brazil.
He's a dear friend, yeah.
Or another one with Gabriele Raglianti I want to do about Italians. I did already quite a lot all over the world, and this is something that for me is so important, that the bass as a tool can go across all the borders and make people understand each other from wherever you come.
Yes, and I think that's an excellent point. And what we need to remember are borders were drawn by, they don't exist. You know, you don't come to the border between Germany and wherever, Switzerland, and see a line running through. I mean, the border, somebody decided on where that line was, but people are people. Where, you know, on either side of the border, and the power of music is to be able to share feelings and to transcend.
Also
those
to connect.
To connect, absolutely, to connect people, and to transcend these ideas of borders and what separates us. It's when we talk about bass love, bringing everybody together with the warm, beautiful sound of the bass. This for me is one of the most powerful things. Yeah.
This is the key sentence.
Yeah.
And that's also something I want to finish that conversation, invite everybody, especially you also, to the Bavarian Bass Days. And I want to thank you so much for that
Thank you,
talk.
Klaus. Yes, thank you for this chat. Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
See you soon. Stay tuned.